What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well. The New York Knicks just came out victorious in Memphis, 118 to 104. Talk about a huge W. You really had to win this game. Of course, this tough Western road trip coming up of the Clippers, of the Suns, the Los Angeles Lakers. You really had to win this basketball game. And think about the history of the New York Knicks. They've been very bad for the past 10 to 20 years. And the Knicks just clinched their first winning season for the past 8 years. We haven't had a winning season in 8 years. That is insane to hear or just say out loud. Dad, we're finally improving as a basketball team. I remember just always talking with my dad. This is the year the Knicks are going to improve. This is the year the Knicks are going to improve. And they finally improved this season. It looks like we're actually building something right here. And I was really skeptical checking into this basketball game or really playing the Memphis Grizzlies or entering this game. You think about it, last time, how'd that Grizzlies game go? We beat them in overtime. Alec Burks big shots down the stretch. RJ Barrett as well. They're really going to be looking for their revenge. They have Jaren Jackson Jr. back. He's not starting. He's coming off the bench, still getting into the swing of things. But I bet John Morant wants that revenge. I bet a guy of Desmond Bane. I bet a guy of Dylan Brooks, Jonas Valanciunas all want that revenge in this basketball game. And we're on the road now. But you also have to keep in mind, this Knicks team is so mentally tough. We have this next man up mentality. Whenever someone goes down, we still find a way to win basketball games. It's insane. Mitchell Robinson, Alec Burks, and now Nerlens Noel. It's insane. Like I said, I keep on saying it's insane, but it really is. Of course, the unfortunate news is Nerlens Noel did go down with a sprained ankle last night in the Houston Rockets game, where it might be 12 o'clock by then, by now, so maybe the night before. But yes, he went down with a sprained ankle. He is day-to-day, and Taj Gibson's gonna be starting in this game. And you see the matchup, Jonas Valanciunas versus Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson is someone who's been playing power forward most of his career, ended up adjusting his role to the center position, or the center position for the New York Knicks the past 2 seasons under the tenure of Fizdale and Tom Thibodeau before he was playing power forward with the Thunder, with the Timberwolves, and the Chicago Bulls. And I actually like this matchup better of Taj Gibson up against a Jonas Valanciunas. And you guys may be like, why? Jonas Valanciunas is taller than him. He's just absolutely going to kill him on the glass. But I love Taj Gibson's physicality, his ability to front, really box out. He may be undersized, but he's a very smart veteran. As much as I love Nerlens Noel, he doesn't have the physicality to keep up with the guy of Jonas Valanciunas. And I thought Taj Gibson did amazing tonight on the boards. And he might be someone to look at to really bring back, or even not as a player, maybe a member of the coaching staff or a trainer. I don't know if he'd want to be that or whatever, but gosh, I just love Taj Gibson for this club. He's literally one of the big time heart and souls of this Knicks squad. It's just amazing to watch. But yes, the beginning of this game was not pretty whatsoever. We were not scoring in the first few minutes of this game. Right out the gate, the Grizzlies were getting buckets, playing good defense, but also we just couldn't get a shot to go in the first 4 or 5 minutes. It was 6-0. It looked horrible. Then eventually we did find Bullock in the corner, knocked down a 3. Payne, yes, we like to bash Payne a lot. Payne has not been great for the New York Knicks, but I actually liked his defense tonight. I thought he did a really good job keeping John Morant in check, or even a Derrick Rose. You got to give credit to our guards of shutting him off and making him feel uncomfortable at the rim, giving him those shots outside the perimeter, because he only is a 30% shooter from downtown, so he did not have an efficient night whatsoever. It was just a horrific, just terrible game by John Morant tonight. Of course, the dribble penetration he did well with. His defense was not the greatest. He just literally just did not have a good basketball game. But yeah, the defense led the offense. We eventually started to get some things going. And the Memphis Grizzlies, their philosophy was we got to get out and run. We need snipers on the corners. We need Desmond Bane to light it up. We need a guy of Dylan Brooks. We need Jaren Jackson Jr. to really bring some great energy, as the Knicks ended up going on this little run, of course, in the first quarter, but they really tried to change the tempo of the game. But Tom Thibodeau does a really great job making adjustments, really making the Knicks play throughout their strengths of the slow, grinded out basketball game. And when it got sloppy at the end, I knew Tom Thibodeau loved that, because that is our style of play. We're just going to fight to the end, and just we're going to try to tire out teams. And when those teams are tired, we're not going to be tired, because we are the more conditioned basketball team. Our starters play a lot of minutes. But yeah, I thought the first quarter was really interesting. We were moving the ball well. Julius Randle did get off to a slow start, but I thought the Memphis Grizzlies did some good things, and I thought the Knicks did some good things, but I thought we played good defense in the first quarter. And the scary thing also, I actually wanted to add real quick, of course, we weren't providing that much offense. Eventually, we started to get some things going, like Derrick Rose coming in, lighting a big spark, but a big concern was Taj Gibson getting into foul trouble. I thought they called some, like, some of them, like, some of the calls by some of the calls by the officials were both some of the calls like by the officials were both some of the calls on the officials like were bad on both ends for the New York Knicks and Memphis Grizzlies, but Taj Gibson ended up getting into foul trouble, and I was like, can we trust Norvell Pell with his awareness? We know he's a good defensive player, but sometimes he can guard too high on the pick and roll. He's a really good shot blocker, so is he a good defensive player? He's a good shot blocker, but that does not mean he's a great defensive player, but I actually thought he did a solid job bringing the energy. He just reminds me of an old school New York Knicks. Like, he brings so much heart and hustle out there. It was probably the most valuable, like, minutes in a Knicks uniform when you really think about it. Like, the Pistons game, of course, like, those weren't really valuable minutes to him. Like, really bringing this energy and helping him get, like, this contract for the rest of the year, or giving him another contract, you know? But that game was pretty much over. But we're talking about, like, a game here. We have a chance to finally have, like, clinch a winning record for the first time in, like, 8 years. It's just absolutely insane, and really try to lock up a seed. Of course, I'm not going to be greedy here because the Knicks haven't been good in a very long time, but it was just absolutely insane, and I thought Pell played good defense, but I did have concerns about Taj Gibson because I was like, we need him down the stretch. Let's try to keep him out of foul trouble. But in the second quarter, that's where it was at, and I just got to give credit to Tom Thibodeau here. Usually he kind of is someone who is stubborn, and he plays the starters a lot of minutes, but the bench was amazing. The bench was off the charts. If it was Emmanuel Quickley, if it was Derrick Rose, if it was Obi Toppin, literally everyone brought a spark. Alec Burks came back, and he did not, like, lose a step, like, whatsoever. Of course, he checked in the game. Nice pass to Pell, laying it up and in. He got a friendly roll on a three, catching guys on his hip. The bench was absolutely terrific, and I love that Tom Thibodeau just ran with the hot guns, and it was just amazing to see. We were absolutely killing them in the second quarter. And then the end of the second quarter, like, RJ, he was forcing some things. He was forcing the issue, and I get it because he really wasn't getting into the flow of things because he wasn't in the game, like, literally since the first quarter, until he checked into the end of the second, because the bench was playing that well. So I can't blame Tom Thibodeau or RJ Barrett that much. I knew RJ Barrett was going to bounce back. He's a second half basketball player. But I knew the Knicks were going to win this game. I had good feeling when Julius Randle hit that buzzer beater to end the first half. We were playing good on both ends. We were moving the basketball. It was beautiful to see. Keep in mind, we were shooting 9 of 15 from 3 and 75% or over 75% in that second quarter. That bench unit could not miss whatsoever, and they were even providing solid defense, even Obi Toppin, of course, bringing that lob threat as well offensively. Now, entering this third quarter, like, keep in mind, we were up like 17 points, I believe, in this game, but in the third quarter, it was literally the Dillon Brooks show. Dillon Brooks is officially a New York Knicks killer, right up there with the Desmond Bane, his ability to hit shots. Jaren Jackson Jr. played well in the first half, but you gotta be impressed with our guards, how we were able to keep John Morant in check, or just let him have, or force him to have this nightmare game, really make him feel uncomfortable. But I gotta give credit to the Memphis Grizzlies. They have some good basketball players over there, but our guys just executed 48 minutes of ball. But before you know it, big three after big three, leaving Desmond Bane open from three, leaving a guy Dillon Brooks open from three, starting to play this fast brand of basketball. But yeah, like I said, before you know it, it's a 5-point game, and just Tom Thibodeau was furious, and he called a timeout. And I thought a really big, like, pivotal moment of that third quarter is when Taj Gibson picked up that fourth foul, and Tom Thibodeau really installed his faith into Taj Gibson, like, you're a veteran, you could deal with it, we're keeping you out there in the basketball game. And RJ, who really didn't provide much in the second quarter, eventually started to get some things going, really drawing contact, getting going in transition after a big steal. I thought he played a good brand of basketball, taking it tough to the rim. He really wasn't forcing things like he was in the second quarter, which was beautiful to see. But the Grizzlies, they wouldn't go away. They're a resilient group, but so are we. They went on runs, we answered back. We just tried to really build upon this, like, lead. We wanted to win this game. We just did not want this to be a scary game down the stretch, like, whatsoever. Now, starting off in the fourth quarter, it was just disastrous. And then, yes, like I said, Dillon Brooks ended up cutting this to a 5-point game, but somehow we were able to close out the third quarter 97-80. And I was like, can we close out this basketball game? That was the largest lead of the game as well at 17 points. And I believe in 54 seconds, Desmond Bane, I believe he made 2 or 3 threes in a row. And I'm like, what's going on here? We can't allow this to be a close game. But like I said, they're a resilient, gritty group. And they also built some momentum. They started to really full court press us. There was one situation we almost got like a backcourt violation, or not backcourt violation. We almost didn't cross the timeline in time, and it almost ended up being a big time violation, and they would have got the basketball. And it got to this one point in the game that we literally had 2 points in like the first 6 minutes of like the fourth quarter. It wasn't even just us. The Grizzlies couldn't get anything going. Both of these teams were getting stops, and like Taylor Jenkins and a guy of Tom Thibodeau both preached like defense, grinded out style of play. But Tom Thibodeau, of course, is this guy who's been like perfecting it for years. And I just, like, you could just tell, like, watching this game, it was like Tom Thibodeau, Taylor Jenkins, they couldn't be mad because they were playing good defense. They just couldn't get shots to fall. Once again, they cut it to a 5-point game after being up 17. If it's Dillon Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., and before you know it, a 17-point lead went down to a 5-point lead. John Morant scored when it mattered most. I was really scared because Randall couldn't get anything going in the fourth quarter. Shots were going in and out, and I was like, oh, this really isn't our quarter. I really don't want the game to end this way. I don't want the Grizzlies getting big buckets. Luckily, Grayson Allen missed some open threes. Luckily, Dillon Brooks actually went cold in the fourth. After I say, oh my gosh, Randall's playing like trash, he ends up hitting a big 3. He ends up hitting a huge 3 that actually made it be like an 8-point game with like 3 or 4 minutes left, and not getting back on defense. Like Jaren Jackson Jr., big layup. Derrick Rose responds. Grizzlies respond. Derrick Rose does a great job really dribble penetrating and putting up that sweeping hook, which has just been amazing, like in his repertoire, or just his career of like this move in his arsenal. But Derrick Rose, huge game down the stretch. But I gotta give credit to Desmond Bane. He just played an amazing basketball game. As a rookie, he is not afraid. But it definitely did help that Morant had a nightmare game, but I don't think it was on accident. Like, yes, his shots weren't falling, but we were also playing good defense in the paint. The Knicks come out victorious. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, guys, have a humble day or night. Peace out, y'all.